what we're going to do. And now I've been told that you are looking at the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. Now, I think the heading is called Smug or Sorry. Well, you already know the story. We'll talk about the Pharisee. So let's draw the Pharisee and him praising and praying to God and saying to God how great he is. He's a bit smug. So I'm going to draw him raising his hands up in the air and calling out and shouting out and making sure everybody can hear him and how great he is, with that smug look on his face, maybe. I don't know. So let's start. On this side, we'll do the Pharisee. So let's draw a kind of an oval shape for his face. Bit of a pointy chin. And a long line down the middle, and he's got a bit of a nostril. A roundish mouth, because he's calling out. Now, for his eyes, we're going to do like a round and squiggly line like that. And maybe make it a bit thicker, like that. And his eyebrows can be raised up high, a bit like that. And maybe he has a bit of a beard. So he's calling out to God, oh God, I am great, kind of thing. He's got like a turban on his head, with kind of lines like that. Oh, and not forgetting his round ear. And on that side as well. And that can go around like that. And maybe the cloth hanging down. Let's do his shoulders. And his other shoulder like that. Now his arm will be coming out like that. And then from there, make it wider at the bottom and narrower at the top. A round line like that, and then coming out of there to here, maybe where his body would, his chest would be. Make a V shape like that, and a line down. And then on the other side, his arm would be coming out. He's kind of bent, narrow at the top, thicker at the bottom. That's his elbow, and his sleeve coming out like that, and then down. Now, you don't have to be perfect with hands, but that would be his thumb, and then his fingers like that, and then his thumb would be this side, fingers, praising God, outstretched fingers like that. They don't have to be perfect. Let's finish off the fabric that's on the back of his hat. So that's the Pharisee. On this side, let's draw the tax collector. Now he has a very different attitude to what the Pharisee has when he's praying to God, because they, as you know, both go to the temple to pray to God. But the Pharisee is very smug and makes sure that everybody can hear him, and makes sure that he tells God he's a good man and he gives to the poor, and he's perfect in every way. But this tax collector has a different attitude, a different way of praying, and he's sorry for his sins. So I thought of drawing in a smaller scale a man kneeling down. So again, his turban, what they might have worn in the days when Jesus was alive. I thought maybe start off kind of halfway, because he's maybe in the background, and so the Pharisee is in the foreground, the front of the picture, but He's further back, and we'll draw him a little bit smaller because he's further back in the picture. So we'll do, if you just follow me, kind of a round circle for his turban. Now we might need a rubber, because we might need to rub out some lines. But then in between that round circle you've just done, because that's his turban, we can draw another circle, but this direction. Yeah. Now we're going to, we're doing an outline of the face. So we'll do an ear, like that, and a nose, like that, because he's bending down, he's looking at the ground, and his mouth, and a chin coming out, and back up to meet that line. Now we can rub out that line at the top of the other circle, because that's his turban, and maybe the little round circle that we used to do his face, meet that line with his ear, and have a round line, a little line like that for his eye. And again, draw little lines for his turban that he's wearing. Okay, now from his nose, draw a line at an angle, maybe coming down and as far as there, and stop. Now that can be his arm. Okay, and then in the middle of that arm, draw a line across, and then maybe as far as his chin, and then a line down. Okay, now let's draw another line like that to meet up parallel with the first line you just drew, and then draw a line around, and then a little thumb sticking out. So he's kneeling down and his hand is on the ground. Now from his ear, draw a round line like that and curve it. And then maybe a little bit further down, his other arm is going to be here. So draw a round like that, because this can be his elbow, and a round like that, and his thumb like that. Now draw around and make that line. Don't go over his arm, go under his arm, because this is his leg, and way past this round bit here, because this is going to be his feet. And then from here, draw a line down and his feet like that. Now it can stay like that, and we'll draw a line here like that, and that can be his sleeve. Now I also thought of tears, because he was crying, and they can be falling onto the ground, and there's a little pool of tears, because he's asking God to forgive him for his sins. And the outcome of the story, the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector, is one is a bit smug, one is very, very sorry for his sins. And the person that's going to be truly forgiven is the man that has a heart, and he genuinely asks God for forgiveness, and he's humble. He's not smug. He's not showing off. He's a humble man. There are two positions that you have been able to draw along with me today. One with hands raised up high, and another position of a man's hands on the ground, and he's kneeling down and laying over and thinking about how sorrowful, how sorry he is for his sins. And you and I know that God forgives us straight away, which is wonderful. Let's start colouring in. I'm going to do the Pharisee's turban, his hat in blue, and maybe his garment in a purple. At any time you can stop the video to follow me along and colour in whatever colour you would like. I thought the Pharisee could have brown skin. I'm colouring in his hands and his arms, his fingers. And lightly I'm just going to go over with my crayon the colour of his face and his body. And then he has a very dark, pointed beard. That's my Pharisee. And my tax collector, I think he will have paler skin. See his arms and his hands, and maybe the bottom of his foot. And his garment could be in green. He could have a red turban on his head, and his tears, of course, will be maybe in blue, and the blue pool of his tears. I hope as you draw this and colour it in, thinking about the story, the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector, and the different attitude they had towards praying and being smug or being sorry, and genuinely coming to God.